Did you know that the oldest university in the world has its roots in Africa? You're probably shocked to hear this. Well, if you are, then there's plenty more where that came from. Come along on a fascinating journey as we uncover the hidden stories of some of the world's oldest universities, tucked away from the Gold Coast to the enchanting Nile River. Get ready for discoveries that reshape the story of ancient academic history. Stick around until the end, and you'll unravel mysteries that defy expectations, questioning what you thought you knew about the ancient roots of education. Your intellectual adventure starts now, and the revelations will keep you engaged until the very end, a journey no history book has ever dared to take. So if you go around asking experts about the oldest universities in the world, they'll probably tell you it's the University of Bologna. And to be fair, it would kind of be understandable for them to say this. The University of Bologna is the oldest learning institution in Europe, with a history that dates as far back as 1088. But here's the thing. A lot of the rankings you would see tend to ignore some of the true oldest schools in the world. And that's because they are located in Africa. These schools don't get the hype and recognition they deserve considering how old they are. And that's just the sad state of affairs. But today, we'll be lifting the lid on them and sharing them with the world. So, let's dive in. The University of SANKORE, Mali. If you're really looking to tell the history of Africa, it would be impossible to not mention the ancient city of Timbuktu. The city, which is located in present-day Mali, was known to be a spiritual and intellectual juggernaut back in the day. As far back as the 10th and 11th centuries, scholars from all over the world, regardless of their religion, flocked to Timbuktu for a unique form of enlightenment. Some went in there looking for something, while others were simply trying to explore. Whatever it was, though, Timbuktu gave it to them. And among the many jewels of Timbuktu was the University of SANKORE. Known to some as the SANKORE Madrasa, this learning institution is one of the oldest known learning institutions in the world. Founded in 988 AD, the University of SANKORE was the result of Timbuktu's rising profile as one of the centers of the world. Traders and merchants from the Middle East and North Africa flocked to the city, and considering that most of them were Muslims, they were more than willing to leave their knowledge at the madrasa. Soon enough, it accumulated such a wealth of books from all over the Muslim world that it became not just a place of worship, but a place of learning as well. However, the real prominence of the University of SANKORE came in the 12th century. After the Mali Empire gained control of Timbuktu under the rule of King Mansa Musa, he recognized the need for preserving knowledge and made several improvements to the madrasa following his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. Mansa staffed the university with scholars in different fields, helping the school gain even more visibility across the Islamic world. When the bubonic plague affected Europe in the 14th century AD, rumors about the wealth of Mansa Musa reached Europe. While gold was exported from Timbuktu between the 14th and 16th centuries AD, although salt was an important commodity, the most valuable import was books. The acquisition of books was a demonstration of wealth during this time, and SANKORE was one of the most important centers of knowledge acquisition in the world during this time period. At the end of Mansa's reign, the University of SANKORE had amassed a collection of books that could rival the Library of Alexandria. Its library had between 400,000 and 700,000 manuscripts, so it really didn't matter what you were looking for, this place had it. Fast forward 2 centuries, and the school underwent even more improvements under Askia Daoud, the ruler of the Songhai Empire from 1549 to 1583. Daoud's influence helped grow the university to 180 facilities, housing about 25,000 students. Now here's the kicker. At the time, Timbuktu had a population of about 100,000 people. For one school to have about a quarter of the entire city's population was no small feat for sure. Before getting into the university, students would have to pursue 2 degrees. 2. The first required learning how to read and write in Arabic, and if you were lucky enough to gain admission, you'd also need to study poetry, language, grammar, and literature. From then on, you could engage in whatever mandatory or optional field of study. Some of the available subjects were medicine, astronomy, mathematics, history, and art, among others. On average, students took 10 years to graduate from this university. Those who did would get clothes, livestock, blocks of salt, and even money as gifts. Not bad for a ceremony, I'd say. Sadly though, SANKORE University was stripped of most of its scholars and texts when the Moroccans invaded Songhai in 1591. It still stands today, but it mostly just serves as a palace for Quranic studies. Al-Azhar University, Egypt. Egypt isn't just one of the most prominent countries on the African continent today, it's also one of the most culturally relevant nations in the world. At some point, Egypt was pretty much the center of civilization, and just like Timbuktu, much of that was because of the wealth of people and knowledge that passed through it. Founded in 970 AD, Al-Azhar University is a learning center that was developed to be the center of Arabic and Islamic learning in the world. In its early years, Al-Azhar University had a relatively informal educational format. There weren't any requirements to be granted admission, and the school didn't even have any formal degrees or curricula. Instead, students mostly came in to study Islamic law, theology, and Arabic. However, over time, things started to expand a bit. Besides the 3 courses listed, Al-Azhar University also grew to teach courses like logic, math, and poetry. Like the SANKORE University, Al-Azhar also fell into some disrepute after Egypt was conquered by Saladin, the founder of the Ayyubi dynasty and a Sunni Muslim in the latter half of the 12th century. Still, it was revived under the Mamluks and continued to thrive as a center of Sunni Islam learning. An earthquake damaged much of the university in the 13th century, but it was once again built and renovated all through the 14th and 15th centuries. Through the centuries, more reforms have come to this esteemed institution. And by the 60s, it had opened its doors to faculties of medicine and engineering. Women were first admitted in 1962, and Al-Azhar University has continued to thrive as a beacon of learning to this very day. Al-Qarawiyyin University, Morocco. And we're finally here. The Al-Qarawiyyin University, which holds the title of being the oldest on the face of the planet. Recognized by both the Guinness Book of Records and UNESCO, Al-Qarawiyyin University was founded in 859 AD in Fez, Morocco. Interestingly, the university also holds the title of being the very first to be founded by a woman. It was founded by Fatima Al-Fria, a Tunisian-born scholar and academic who used her influence from her merchant father's wealth to found the institution. Like SANKORE University, this school also started as a madrasa and a mosque, but it soon grew into a place of higher education. According to some sources, Al-Qarawiyyin University was one of the first to introduce the system of awarding degrees based on different levels of study in different fields. The school began by focusing solely on religious instruction, but it quickly expanded to offer courses in medicine, math, logic, astronomy, and even grammar. Soon enough, Al-Qarawiyyin University became so popular that it had to introduce a strict election and admission system. Students would be required to know the Quran by heart and have a solid knowledge of both Arabic and the general sciences to be admitted, so getting in was no easy feat. Thanks to the support of sultans in the era, Al-Qarawiyyin University quickly built several libraries, both in its main and side buildings. These libraries house countless manuscripts and books, with several historic pieces, including copies of the Quran, being placed there. The Al-Qarawiyyin University remains functional today, although its libraries are the major draw. So from what we have here, it appears there's a bit of a mismatch between what some sources say are the oldest universities and what we know to be the oldest universities in the world. Instead of Bologna, these luminary institutions are located in Mali, Egypt, and Morocco. Long before we even knew about degrees, these schools have been granting them and providing access to high-quality education for scholars regardless of where they are from.